Hello everyone, I'm Carly. It's Friday, so that means it's time for another Zoo to You virtual safari. I'm Carly, and then we're gonna have Michelle and Shayla in the yard here. We are in the very back corner of Primate Panorama in an area known as the Shamba, and we're going to be talking about our yellow-backed duikers today. So this is a species that you may not have ever seen here, but I strongly encourage you when we reopen to make a trip back to the Shamba and see the yellow-backed duikers and our red river hogs. There are so many great species back here for you to see, so we hope when you come join us, you'll beeline your way back to this corner of our zoo and see it. So I'm gonna wait for a couple more people to jump on, but if you have any questions about duikers, Michelle is going to be in the yard to start, and then she's gonna lay out some enrichment. She's gonna engage with Salma, our female yellow-backed duiker, and then she's gonna come out here with me and we'll answer some questions for you about this species. So if you wanna hold your questions till Michelle answers them, she'll have a better answer for you than I will. So as a reminder, we have a survey that you all can take to give us your feedback about the virtual safaris. We'll put that link in the comments. So if you have any feedback, comments, questions that you want to share with us, if you have been joining us, we know a lot of you have been checking in daily. So thank you so much. Hi, Gail. Oh my gosh, the drums are hugely popular over here. So if you have little ones, they're definitely going to want to play on the drums, and then they're going to want to see these animals. So you can see right in the behind me, that is Salma, our female yellow-backed duiker. We have two. We have a male named Cameroon. He is not out. It's just going to be Salma. So we'll turn this around and get up close with her. So Michelle is out here right now putting enrichment. She's putting food in various feeders, like that lime green puzzle feeder has some peppers and lettuce. She's also put peanut butter in that blue puzzle feeder down there. Hi, Abby. Thanks for joining us again today. There is some browse over on that rock. And then Michelle is just spending some time with Salma right now, giving her some scratches. You'd never go in with an animal and give them a treat without giving them some lovely scratches as well. All right, Amelie and Anderson, what is a duiker? It's a species of antelope, and they get their name from an African word that means to dive. So when these guys are threatened or hiding, they dive into bushes. They live in dense forests of Central Africa. So this is a duiker, Melissa. It is D-U-I-K-E-R. So I'll show you this interpretive sign we have right there. So if you're wondering, there you go. Hi, Kelly. Tisha, tell Kelly I say hello. And Gail says we don't know much about this species, so we're excited to learn. So to help me with that is Michelle. She is holding on to one of the puzzle feeders that has the peanut butter on it. So much like you would give your dog, you want them to enjoy it slowly, not overwhelm them. Hi, Becky. Salma is 14. She is our female. She's 14, almost 15 in about another month. Oliver is wondering why they have that yellow hair on their back and then a little tuft on top of their head, Michelle.
Well, that's a really great question. So the yellow on the back is a type of camouflage that they have. So duiker is the Afrikaans word that means diver. So what they do is they don't, when they're being threatened, they don't attack. They usually dive for cover and they run. And so if you can kind of imagine if Salma had dove into some thick brush in the African forest, that yellow patch on her back would look like just a little dappled sunshine, and it's really good to hide them. And the red on the head, I don't think it has a specific purpose, but it is definitely individual to this species of duiker with the red on the hair.
Very good. And do we know their conservation status?
Their least concern, the last number I saw was, I think it was about 600,000 in the wild, so it's not, they're not way up on the red list, but definitely their numbers are dwindling.
So we don't have an exact number, Viola, but they are of least concern right now.
Least concern.
So if that gives you an idea. We have a lot of lifespan from Abby and other viewers.
Oh yeah, so the research says it's between 10 and 20 years. Ours are almost 14 and almost 15, or in 15 and almost 15. So they're getting up in age. It's definitely not a geriatric though. Both of ours are really still healthy and could breed if we did have a breeding recommendation or if we chose to do that with them.
Jelena's 8. She's wondering, why does she like peanut butter?
Oh, well, probably the same reason I like peanut butter is because it's really good. These guys are herbivores, so they eat mostly plants, but they also will eat seeds and nuts and things like that. And so peanut butter is made from nuts. And I think that's probably one of the reasons they like that.
So Mark Rinker says hello. Mark is one of our volunteers, and this is kind of the wrapping up end of Volunteer Appreciation Week. So I quickly want to thank Mark and all of our wonderful, amazing volunteers. We haven't seen them since we closed the zoo, but they are so important to us here. Every day that they're not here, I know the keepers really miss them, and I know the animals do. So I want to thank our volunteers. They dedicate thousands and thousands of hours every year to Denver Zoo to make our animals healthy, to help our keepers, to help our guests have a good time here.
Yeah,
so
we're missing our volunteers for sure.
We miss you all, and we hope you had a really nice Volunteer Appreciation Week, sort of a virtual one this year. So Ethan's wondering, do only males have horns?
Great question. No, both of them have horns. They're both about the same. The horns are the same size. With our 2 Duikers, so this is our female Salma, we also have a male whose name is Cameroon. And we do not currently have them together. They don't often get along together, and our yard is not very large, so we try to rotate the space. But between our 2 Duikers, if you come, Salma is the one who has her horns that are kind of more closely together, so you can see that right now. If you were to come and you saw a Duiker that looked pretty much exactly like her but had a little wider set of horns, that's the male.
Let's see. Nancy's wondering, where in Africa did these animals live?
Central Africa, and then over to the eastern part of Africa, of the Duiker species, and there's quite a few species of different kinds of Duikers. They're mostly forest dwelling. They could be more of a wet forest, and it can also get to the dry. I do believe there's one species of Duiker that's more of an arid out of the forest, but these guys range in that central to eastern part of Africa.
And what do we have in the bright green feeder over there?
So the bright green feeder is the same idea as the blue bowl with the peanut butter in it to slow them down to eating. So in there today we have part of her diet, which is red peppers and some romaine lettuce, which is their favorite lettuce.
Thanks for thanking our volunteers, Lala. So Zoe, you can know that our other Duiker is inside. Michelle just explained they don't always love to share the same space, so we like to rotate them, give them their own time in the yard. Ethan's wondering what their predators are.
Oh, that's a good one. So they are hunted for food by humans, and that can sometimes get a little out of control. So right now that's the biggest threat to them, is hunting as well as encroaching on their habitat by humans as well. But there are some other larger predators. I read somewhere that maybe even crocodiles could be a predator for these guys.
Oh, wow. Calvin's 4. He wants to know how you can tell the boys and girls apart.
Well, for our Duikers, when I first look at them, it's their horns. With Salma's horns a little closer together and Cammie's horns a little further apart. She's also a tad bigger than him, and females are often a little bit bigger than the males.
And what's that called? We talked about that with other species. Sexually dimorphic?
Yes, you got it.
Sexually dimorphic, that's when the female is going to be larger than the male. Thank you to our ambassador keepers who taught me that during our Facebook Live about snakes. Anderson is 5. He wants to know if they burp or hiccup.
You know, I've never seen them do it, but these guys are ruminators, so they do bring the food back up and re-chew it in their mouth, similar to what you would see a cow doing. So it's kind of like a burp.
Hi, Lisa. Salma is 14, almost 15. Chase is 10. He's in Lafayette. Hi, Chase. He's wondering what other colors they come in.
Okay, so there's a black Duiker, and it's a little bit smaller than this one, and it doesn't have the yellow on the back. That's why this one is the yellow-backed Duiker. There's also a red Duiker that has a little red cast to it. The smallest Duiker is the blue Duiker. Unfortunately, they are not blue, but that would be really awesome. I'm not sure why. I couldn't find any research to tell me why they were named of that. But a lot of them have this same kind of color scheme. Think how to hide in the forest.
A lot of questions about their social structure, their dynamics. Are they solitary? Are they a herd animal?
So these guys are a solitary species, which makes it advantageous for us that we have to exhibit them individually. I have read that they will live in male-female pairs, but typically these guys are a solitary species.
Let's see. Someone asked if they were a type of pig. No, they're a type of antelope.
Antelope. An
Antelope.
African forest antelope.
So even though they're close by to our Red River hogs and have a little bit more of like a stout appearance than some of our like slender antelopes like the kudu or the Gerenuk, these are not related to a pig.
You know, I read some stuff about that. The reason they are more stout and they have that kind of curved is because these guys don't run from their predators. They dive. They actually call them a slinker. And when ours are nervous, they actually move a little bit like a slinky, with a little bit going forward and then kind of hunching up. So I think that's probably why they look like they do, because they don't run for long distances. These guys are going to run quickly and hide. That's
a very good answer to a lot of the questions we've been getting. Are they fast? Do they run? So for short distances, and yes, they can be fast. A lot of people wondering if they can swim.
I would assume they could. I did not see I haven't read any research that says they do that by choice. But definitely there's water in the forest, so...
Christine is wondering where they are in the zoo. So if you come through Primate Panorama and come, there's Shayla. If you go through the mandrills, say hi to them. On your way to our great apes habitat, there's going to be a place called the Shamba. And you come back there and you come through here and there they are. They're at the far western border side of Denver Zoo. And hi to all the members. We know you can't wait to come back and we can't wait to see you either. So just hang in there. We're going to get you back here and we're excited to reopen and see you all soon. So we miss you. Even if you're not a member, if you're just a guest who wants to come, we miss you too. Lori's wondering how much they weigh.
So they're about 80 kilograms, which is about 170 pounds. Salma's just a tiny bit bigger than Cameroon.
Jenna says, hi, Shayla. Are they like a cow? Do they have multiple stomachs? Lala 9 is asking.
They actually are more closely related to cows. They do have the multiple stomachs with the rumen. So when they eat the food, they might not completely chew up their food. A lot of times if we give them a smaller treat, they do actually swallow it whole. And then they'll do the things like the grass in the yard, they'll eat that, or the leaves that were on the tree branches that I put on the rock. They'll eat those and swallow them quickly, and then later when they're lying down, they'll bring that back up and continue to chew it and digest it better.
Very good. Harper and Wyatt, 6 and 4, they're wondering if they like to play with toys.
Oh, that's a good question. They don't play too much with the toys. If you can see some of the trees, especially the tree that she's standing next to right now, some of the bark on there looks a little bit different colored, and they do play a little bit on those with their horns. So they might have an itch on their head that they would rub on the bark with their horns. They do that on some of the doors inside the barn too. And they can run a little bit and get excited when they know it's about time to be fed.
I haven't seen this question yet, so I'm going to ask it. How do they handle our cold weather here? Snow or low temps?
Yeah, we try to keep them inside if it's a very chilly day. They are not fans of snow or rain, so we're glad that today is sunny. We will give them the choice to be outside if the temperature is about 35 degrees and the sun is shining. Typically, they come out, do one lap around the yard, and go right back into the warm barn.
All right, Calvin's 4. He wants to know how big their horns will get.
That's the biggest that they get, so it's just a few inches. It's not a very big horn. They definitely don't use them for sparring like maybe you would think an elk or deer do. They can use them for defense a little bit, but with them being pointed backward, they're not very
not the most helpful
for that. Yeah.
Are they aggressive? Lisa's wondering.
They can be. Salma is, by her choice, just very accepting of us going into the exhibit with her. The male that we have here, Cameroon, he was born here at Denver, and he is much more reluctant to let us come into the stall. So it's something that we work on with him, is to let us take a small step into the stall. And if he chooses to let us touch him, then we will do that. Salma really drives that behavior. If she wants to be touched, then I am happy to do that for her. I think she enjoys the scratches. It's also nice to get a look at her in case she has a wound that we might have to treat. But definitely they can be aggressive. Just have to remember that they're all wild animals.
So Ivy, Lily, and Janae, hi. They are wondering what else they like to eat, and we can see Salma munching on some browse.
Yeah, they're great fans of leaves. So this is a browser species. So when you think of a cow, that's a grazer. They eat from the ground. A browser eats from the branches. And so that's why she really likes the leaves. They'll snack on the green grass in here. They like vegetables like cucumbers, red pepper, cauliflower. green peppers, green beans. And then as far as treats go, they like things like peanuts and some of the monkey biscuits that you might have gotten introduced to yesterday when you watched with lemurs. These guys, it would be appropriate for them to eat that too, because those biscuits are made for leaf-eating monkeys, and this is a leaf-eating hoofstock.
Kyle's wondering if Cammie and Salma are a mating pair.
So they could be. We have had them together in the past, and they've not always gotten along very well. And so we are hoping this year to maybe change a few things to make it more advantageous for them to be a breeding pair. We want to change the exhibit a little bit and give it a little bit more places for her to hide and for him to hide, so that they don't always have to be in exactly the same space together.
So Madeline and Melanie, they don't really fight because we don't really keep them together, but they don't get along when they are together.
Yeah.
But we wouldn't call it fighting. Calvin's wondering, do they have long tongues like other animals to help them with that browsing behavior?
They do have a relatively long tongue. I don't know how long it is, but they do have a bit of a long tongue. That's right. You know, some of the branches that are hanging into the yard here, you see that she has eaten the leaves off of them already. A neat thing about this species is they also will eat carrion, which, if you don't know what that means, it means dead animals, which is really surprising when you think about an animal that is supposed to eat leaves. But they will sometimes even eat small invertebrates like frogs and lizards.
Are they related at all to domestic horses?
Less related to horses and more related to cows.
Yeah, I even got that kind of cow imagery when she was chewing over there. It was very
I often
similar.
think of that when I look at their big shiny nose.
Yes, someone said that she has the face of a warthog, kind of.
I can see that a little bit.
Yeah, you know, kind of the Disney Lion King.
Yeah.
Warthog.
Yeah, she does have a tapered nose. They've got on each side of the nose there, if she comes closer and we can see it, they actually have scent glands on their nose so that they can mark their territory. They're extremely territorial, which probably is one reason why ours don't always get along very well, is they want their own space, and so they'll use that scent gland to wipe onto trees or rocks or other branches to let everybody else know, hey, this is my turf.
So Kristen's wondering how long Salma and Cammie have been at Denver Zoo.
So Cammie has been here his whole life. He was born here in this barn. He lived in this yard his whole life. And Salma came...
2017?
No, she's been here longer than that.
Oh, okay.
She's been here for quite a while.
So
she was brought in to pair with him for us to breed again.
All right. Ivy's 9. She's wondering if they're difficult to catch if they need care.
Oh.
And so you can explain that we don't need to catch them.
Yeah, that's true. It would be really hard if what we had to do was to go in there and catch her. So when she needs medical care, she has been taught that she comes into the barn and they have a really big wooden crate, kind of like a crate that you maybe would think a Great Dane dog would fit in. And that's the crate that she goes into, and we close the doors in that, and then she can get her medical care there. If she needs an injection, it can happen there too. So much safer than having to try to catch her.
Kristen was wondering how old they are. Again, Salma is 14, Cammie is 15, so they're very close in age. There was a really good question over here. I lost it. What else do you love about working with Duikers?
I'm a primate keeper, so mostly I work in the Great Apes building. This is a really neat change. It's really fun to be able to work with a species that needs different care. It's fun. I learn something new about these guys all the time, and so I really like that aspect of it too, is that I'm always learning too, trying to figure out new ways. The 2 toys that are in there with her now, the green ball and the blue slow feeder, are both pretty new to them. It's fun for me to shop and find a new toy and then to try it out and see if it worked like I wanted it to work.
What would you say is their strongest sense?
These guys have a really good sense of smell. So that's, if we throw food out there, even when it's tiny little pieces of food, they will find every single one of them. I know that she sees pretty well too. You know, she could see the colors on the toys, but if we just put peanut butter out there, I think she could smell it too. I'm not sure about their sense of hearing. I've never seen, I definitely know when there's a strange noise that they pay attention to it, but I think the big thing for us, especially when we put in new toys or when new people work with them, is the sense of smell.
So the smell is a really big one for them.
She's using it right now. She knows that biscuit's there somewhere.
Shayla has tossed in a biscuit and she's looking for it, and there she found it. So there's your up-close look at the yellow-backed duiker. Hi, Jessica. Thank you for that donation. Thank you so much. Cindy's wondering if they climb.
Not at all.
Not at all.
No.
They are all 4 feet terra
All 4
firma.
feet on the ground. Those hooves are pretty small, and so I don't think they get a lot of traction. These guys are not like some antelope that are good at bounding up mountainsides or rock slides or things like that.
These are forest dwellers, flat land. That's what they like. Lily and Janae are wondering what other animals they are comparable to. We've said a cow, but what else might they be related to?
Some of the other African forest antelopes, eland. I can't think of any others off the top of my head.
Well, we've got some. They're antelope, so that's, if you know that species, that's who they're closely related to. Hi, Catherine. Catherine's another one of our awesome volunteers who we miss and appreciate, especially during this Volunteer Appreciation Week. She's wondering if they have a favorite keeper.
Well, I'm sure they don't play favorites, but if they did play favorites, I would hope it was me. But seriously, they do notice when a keeper is different. I think it plays into that sense of smell that we all smell a little bit differently. I think it also has to do with what other animals we work with. So if you're working with carnivores and then you come over, you might smell like a carnivore, and that might be intimidating and alarming to them. But definitely, when a new keeper comes to work in the building, we have to build up a lot of trust with them, because I think that they know the difference.
Yes, Catherine agrees. She goes, it should be Michelle.
Oh,
we're getting some questions about their fur and their hair back there. We can see it kind of ends kind of abruptly, and it looks like a shaved spot. So explain what that is.
So we do not shave them. That's actually the way they come. And I'm not exactly sure why. I never saw any I've never seen any information on why that would happen. They are an oily species, and they don't have very long hair. So, being in the forest, it would be very wet. You wouldn't want to stay wet. That would make you cold. You'd want to dry quickly, especially if you're diving into deep cover where it might be kind of wet and mossy and things like that. So I'm assuming that the short cut hair, mostly, just the yellow is really the only long hair they have. And then, they are a very oily species.
And you can tell with the sun shining right down on that yellow patch, if you can imagine they would be diving into grass in Africa, it would really help them blend in away from predators.
Yeah, looking at the back of our exhibit, you can kind of see where the shade and the sun is. And if even if she's laying back there, it's perfectly daylight outside. But there are some times where my eyes can skip right across her, because she really does look like light and shadow.
Lisa's curious if they are big shedders.
Not so much. Some of that yellow hair will shed. If we're doing scratches, or if she might have a wound that we're looking at and manipulating, but typically no, not very big shedding.
Not very big shedding. So we're throwing some more treats in there, so hopefully Salma stays out here with us. It's a little bit breezy today here in Denver, so it might just be on that borderline of what she wants to be outside for. But at least we have the sun. Lily and Janae have so many great questions. They want to know if duikers snore.
Oh, I don't know. I'm never here when they're sleeping. They are awake during the day, just like we are. And at night, I feed them, and when I go home, they're still awake finishing up their dinner. And by the time I get here in the morning, they're already awake. So that's a mystery.
Maybe that's why they don't get along. One of them snores.
Oh, you might be right about that. That might be it.
We might be on to something. What does their hair and fur feel like? It looks like it's sort of different at the neck than it is further back.
They're pretty soft. They really are. Hi, Sam. Definitely the yellow part and on the back there where the hair gets a little longer, it gets to be a little coarser, but up under the jaw where it's kind of a little pale color, and then especially right around the nose, it's very, very soft, almost like velvet.
Ooh, velvet. That sounds really nice. So I'll take a couple more questions, and then we're going to log off for the day and for the weekend. Celesta is asking if she's pregnant. Nope. They just have a little bit more of a stout look than most antelope.
Yeah, they need lots of intestines in there and room for the stomachs, because it's hard to digest leaves and grasses and things like that. So they need lots of intestines to digest that.
But that's a great question, Jennifer. Calvin's wondering if they sleep standing up.
Nope, they sleep laying down.
They like to lay down just like we do. Rosanna is wondering if they like to mate for life.
I saw some evidence of that. If they chose to live in a pair, then it was usually a very bonded pair. The other two that we had here, that was Cammy's parents, Cameroon's parents, the male inside the barn, they were a very bonded pair too, and they would actually be able to live together during the day.
Well, I have just really enjoyed this because I didn't know that much about Duikers before today. And so I hope everyone who is watching got to learn a little bit more about one of the lesser known but equally as fantastic species that we have here at Denver Zoo.
Please come to the Shamba and see us.
Yes, come to the Shamba. It's over between mandrills and great apes. It's that fun area. Parents probably know it because their kids love to bang on the drums.
That's true.
We can hear those drums all day, every day in the warm weather. Yes. So it is super popular. Lily and Janae say they actually have a correction to their question. They didn't mean snore, they meant snort.
Oh, good question. We didn't talk about any vocalizations. They do make a little bit of a forcefully blowing their air out of their nose, and that would be a scared noise that they would make when they are alarmed. But they also make a little bit of a squeak or an oink, which is kind of fun. That we've had a lot of, are they related to hogs and look like a warthog? Because they do actually make more of an official oink than I feel like our Red River hogs. And that's a talk that they will talk to each other. Actually, when I was putting her out today, Cameroon was actually making that oinking noise at her today. So
Nancy's wondering if they nap at all during the day.
lots of napping, lots of napping.
So much napping.
Yeah, we got to digest that food.
Becky's wondering what their favorite enrichment item or toy is.
They're really liking the green ball. I think they're enjoying rolling it around and getting the food to come out of it. They really like the browse, and so I've enjoyed finding new places to hang the browse, and I think they enjoy thinking of new ways to get the browse down. They some of it they don't want to just eat the leaves, they want to eat the bark, so they might have to work at it to pull it off of the ring or the hook or whatever it's on, and then they chew up the bark. So,
and you can see an example of that right there in the back. I'm showing you on the left side of the screen. That's where we hang the browse, because obviously we don't have the trees that they can go to, but we like to hang it up so that they have to work a little bit for it. So thank you all. Everyone's saying they learned so much, and they've really enjoyed learning about our yellow-backed Duikers. We cannot wait for you all to come back and see us and make your way over to the Shamba to see our Duikers, our Red River hogs. Let your kids pound on the bongos. It's a really fun time. And there goes Salma. She's going inside. So I think it's time for us to log off. Thank you all so much. I'm going to turn around so we can see Michelle and myself. There we go. Thank you to everyone who has been joining us this week. We really appreciate it. A special thank you again to our volunteers. It is the end of Volunteer Appreciation Week, but we never stop appreciating them. So we miss you all, and we can't wait for you to come back, and we'll see you on Monday.
bye.